How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams?
27 grand a year.
And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy?
Of course.
I see guys who work at the same company for their entire lives. Guys exactly like you. They clock in, they clock out, and they never have a moment of happiness. You have an opportunity. This is a rebirth. If not for you, do it for your children.
Please prepare for this process to continue the rest of your life. There are nothing but difficulties in achieving your goal. Listen, folks, success is hard. It's really hard. Now, when you're trying, you're going to fail. But quitting, just stopping, that was the number one thing I understood. And then number two, you have to make sure that your dreams, your aspirations and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
There were times I doubted whether or not I can do what I needed to do. There's a Doug Williams in everybody here. There's greatness in you. And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will. And I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this.
When you are trying to get to the next level, and you can see where you're trying to get to, there is a ceiling that you have to break through. But in order to get to the next level, it's because you can see what you want to become. But the only reason you can see the next level is because this ceiling is made of glass. In order to get to the next level, you must be willing to break through the glass. Anytime you break through glass, you are going to get cut. You are going to bleed. And in order to get to the next level, you are going to have to give up something that you care about. You cannot take everything with you. Everybody come with you, can't go with you. See, all your friends, they can't go to the next level because they'll get up there with you, and the way they behave, they'll mess it up for you. So when you go through the glass ceiling, you have to be willing to get cut. The cut is going to put some bruises and blood. But that's the only way to get to the next level. I understood that. I knew that I could not remain the same and change. You got to grow. You can't hang out with everybody you've been hanging out with to go to the next level. You can't do everything you used to do. If you do that, you'll never grow.
You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life. I don't believe this. I know this. I've had a challenge of losing weight. I'm walking through the airport, this voice say, why don't you have some M&M peanuts? No! Well, just one. When you're working on something you want to achieve, you have got to stand up to that voice. You've got to sell yourself every day on your abilities, on what you're doing, on the goal that you want to reach. You've got to sell yourself every day, every day, every day. According to your level of belief, it will manifest itself in what you're doing. Whatever we have right now, whatever we're demonstrating in our lives, is a result of what we believe subconsciously that we deserve.
I know from living that if you quit whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. There's not even a remote possibility. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. quitting is guaranteed failure.
I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know. That dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. Let's say that together, please. Say, it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out. No one, ladies and gentlemen, could have convinced me when I started out just over 6 years ago, working on my dream. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is, because I was willing to take a chance. And most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to try and bring them into the business, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. And here's what I will share with you. That in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim.
Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. You must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it. Handle it. Now, I know some people teach the other way. And listen to them. And listen to me. And then make up your own mind. Right? Don't be a follower. Be a student. But I say you got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it, my opinion.
Gratitude erases negativity. I'm going to show you how this works. If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of bed. I'm tripping. I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop. Just stop for a second. And start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want. Everything you already have. Because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. But the fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go somewhere and get yourself something to eat, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go and turn the key and call someplace home, that's another blessing. The ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you.
I was reading a book by Og Mandino called The University of Success. Read one line, gave me a chill. I didn't have to read anything else in the book. He said, many of us never realize our greatness because we become sidetracked by secondary activity. We spread ourselves too thin. Don't know how to say no. And we find ourselves doing all kinds of things and never ever have time to do those things that we need to do to work on ourselves. And then there goes a second. There goes another second. There goes another second. And we can't stop and hold time. And before you know it, you wake up one day and you're behind in your dreams and your bills. So decide that you're going to take some time to work on you, that you deserve that from yourself, that your life deserves some prime time, because you are creating your own production. As Michael Todd would say, you are the star of your show. You are the director. You're writing the script. And you will determine whether your life is a smash office hit or flop. You determine that. Working on yourself, talking to yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up. You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. Shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it.
And there is a war on. The minute you were born, you got involved in the war between good and evil, between darkness and light, between negative and positive, between evil and good, between tyranny and democracy, between weeds and human activity. I mean, the war is on. If democracy sleeps, guess who never sleeps? Tyranny. In the absence of light, guess what's automatic? Darkness. If good does not arouse itself and become active, guess what moves in? Evil. It's a war. A mental war, a physical war, a financial war, between enterprise and ease, between accomplishment and failure. It's a war.
One of the things I have realized, and many of us have, that if you want something out of life, if you want to change yourself, if you want to acquire something, if there's some goal that you want to reach, that is really not easy as some people will make us feel. That living your dream, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. That living alone is just very difficult. And once we begin to come to grips with the fact that living is difficult, life is very challenging. I heard a song once by a guy named Dimples called, "If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another." I say to you, if it ain't one thing, it's 12 others. Always something. You will never ever have a problem-free moment in life. Somebody said, and I like this, that you either in a problem or just left one or headed toward one. Anybody found that to be so? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's always something. So how do we begin to nurture that hunger? What are the characteristics or the qualities of people that are hungry? What will it take for me to get some of the things that I want? And being hungry for those things, number one, you've got to work on yourself. It's very important that you engage in an ongoing process to develop you. Spend more time on yourself than what you've been spending. It's very important. You owe that to yourself. The next thing that's important to know, yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life as you run toward your dream. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan, that you think constantly of how you can begin to improve what it is that you're doing. If it's your presentations, if it's your recruiting skills, whatever that is, it's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you're defeated. That you've got to take personal responsibility to know that in order to become successful, you've got to make it your personal business to do it. But the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that some of you already know that it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office." And I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me. But they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and 2 other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, "God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why does this have to happen to me?" It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. It's very important as you hold on to that dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to know that. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day. It's very important for you to believe that you are the one to make this happen. Myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. You're the one. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. While you're here, and before you go back home to your respective cities and communities, write down at least 5 reasons on why you deserve your dream, on why you won't give up, What's going to make you unstoppable? Why you must be unreasonable? Because logical, practical thinking says you can't do it today. But if you want to produce unreasonable results in your life, like living your dream and taking charge of your destiny, you've got to be an unreasonable person. You've got to be an uncommon person.
You must discipline yourself and take full control and responsibility for the outcome or whatever it is that you are seeking at this moment. There are going to be so many different things that you will embark on. There are going to be so many different things that's going to try to slow you down. There are going to be so many different challenges that you must face. But instead of running away from the challenge, run towards the challenge. Be able to understand that life has meaning. It has reason. And all of these things that you may be thinking that is so hard on you. Just remember, sometimes you're going to have to go through these changes, these circumstances that put you in a position to make you feel that you're not worthy anymore. But make no mistake, you are worthy. You were created for something. You wasn't created for nothing. Life has a gift of giving, a gift of receiving. And whether if it's good or bad, you got to make sure you understand that these circumstances and these challenges has to happen in your life. You will come to a point that you may feel that you are in a hopeless situation. You may come to a point in your life where you're at the end of a rope and the only thing left to do is to climb up because you only can do so much for so long. But make sure you're doing much more instead of doing less. Stop stressing about the things that you cannot control and start focusing on the things that you have control of.
Everywhere I look and everywhere I see in today's society, everybody's doing everything they can to be more comfortable, right? They're looking for the more convenience. They're looking for the quicker. They're looking for the faster. And see, there's opportunity in that for those of you that want to get better. Because I'm going to tell you right now, all the great things in my life, all the great things in other high achievers' lives, all the reasons that these successful people that you look up to, that you aspire to be like, are the way they are, have all come from a place of being uncomfortable. Okay, so understand that when you're trying to avoid the pain, when you're trying to avoid the struggle, when you're trying to avoid the hard things in life, you are actively choosing to be average. You are actively choosing to be mediocre. And you are actively choosing to move further away from what you want in life. Because that hardship and that pain and that struggle and that frustration, they give you the skills that will forge you into a mother champion. All right, so remember that when you try to take the easy route. The easy route never pays well. The only route in life that pays well is the hard route, the struggle, the pain, the frustration, and the overcoming of those things. And not only do they pay, they fulfill you as well, because it shows the people around you. It shows your kids. It shows your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your community, what is possible. And there's nobility in that.
Life, how beautiful it is. How amazing it is to be able to rise up in the morning and have that sun shine on your face rather than on your grave. What makes life so unique and so beautiful? It is beautiful because whatever you have that you may be facing, what you may be dealing with, life is still good. Life has so many moving parts, but life is always good. Every day is a new day and another opportunity that others may not have. This life that you have been given, this life that you are temporarily holding on to, this life that has been just given to you for only temporary reason, has more meaning than you can ever imagine. So many people in the world take life for granted instead of realizing that you have to take the opportunity to live it the best way you know how. Now, on this journey of life, you're going to face a significant amount of circumstances, a significant amount of challenges. You're going to fall into areas that you cannot understand. And maybe it's not in a position for you to understand at that moment. When you start to feel that you are in a position that you don't love your life, then shame on you, because your life is a beautiful thing. And no one deserves to ruin it. No one deserves to control it. No one deserves to steal your joy. Your life is your life, and you have the right to live it the best way you can.
Did you ever think for a second, if I spend my whole day complaining, either vocally or in my head about everything in my life, maybe it's just me? Let's be honest, guys. You've probably killed your fifth slice of pizza and then felt a little twinge of regret, okay? Fat doesn't melt away just because you complained about it. Muscle doesn't show up miraculously because you felt bad for yourself. If you didn't put in any of the work, what did you really expect? I mean, come on, guys. Aren't we past this kind of thinking? I'm not always in the best of moods and things don't go right all the time. They go wrong all the time. But I've come to recognize and appreciate the opportunities I have to test myself. I've come to love the test days. So yeah, in that minute, it does suck. But I'm not going to go around crying and whining my entire career because of one day of setbacks. I recognize in the long run that these are my moments to test myself and really push myself for progress and grow. Are you the kind of person that can draw the line in the sand? Are you the kind of person who could say, this is enough? Are you the kind of person who says, I am done with that and I'm going to become what it is I know I can become? None of us were born that type of person. It's not a magic skill. It's not something that we're gifted with. It's not something that God gave us. We just understand that if we don't stick to what we say, that things aren't going to change. And we want that change more than we want that pizza, more than we want that cigarette. We want the change more than the sacrifice we're going to make.
I am obsessed with my legacy, which means I'm trying to give more than I'm taking on a daily basis. Plus, I know I'm good enough to get mine without taking from somebody else. So I'm running a marathon. My only vulnerability, my kryptonite, is being regretful in my 70s or 80s when I have less in the tank and I might say, oh, I left too much on the table. And that's something I think a lot about.
Yeah.
I think a lot about being 80, 90 and saying, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to take a little more. But I'm hopeful that doesn't transpire because I think so far I feel very confident that both are going to get theirs, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get mine and the people that interact with me are going to get theirs from me. And I think that has a lot to do with why I put out so much content. What I'm worried about is there's a lot of people listening right now and saying, okay, easy for you guys to say. And what I always tell these kids is, you don't understand. That's how we got to that place.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, easy for you, easy for you. Like, I'm just fascinated by people's lack of patience. Like I didn't even, and I know we live in a social media world and everybody's getting all these things flashed at them, but it's crazy. I'll never forget the day I started working full-time in the liquor store. I was 22. And I remember saying to myself, literally the first day, like I'd been working in the stores for 8 years since I was 14, but this is it. I'm done with college. I actually worked few hours when I drove home from college my last day, but the next day was the first day. It was so weird. I hated school my whole life. And that was it. Like I walked into the liquor store and I never had to go to school again. It was like crazy. It was the best day of my life. And I'll never forget, I remember saying, okay, I'm not going to say a word for the next decade. I'm not going to talk to my friends. This is real. And I didn't. My high school and college friends are very weirded out by me. I just went in a cocoon and I just worked every minute. And I didn't even think about popping out until I was 32. Not a word, not a peep, not a party, nothing. And now I've got kids emailing me like, Gary, thank you so much. I love your videos. You inspire me when I'm super down. I almost gave up last week. Yeah, I've been doing my new business for about 4 months and I hit a real wall. I'm like, what's the matter with you? 4 months? You didn't hit a wall. You haven't even gotten out the gate. You're not even in the car. You're like still sleeping in your bed. I just really want to push patience and the long game. All this relationship talk you and I have been doing, It's all long game.
Yep.
You're either playing for life or you're playing for the few minutes ahead of you. And again, this keeps going back over and over in my mind to what other people think. Too many people right now, social media has become the place where everybody is a PR agent of themselves. You're PRing yourself. And I get it. I get people want, to hook up and to have fun. I get everything. I get it. But it is creating ungodly short-term behavior, which is not allowing people to really win the game. And by the way, that's the punchline. This is a mental game. There's just nothing else. But let me get real practical. I've been putting out a lot of for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm starting to see the themes of what's actually working. Here's a big one. If you're not feeling it, find new friends. I'm being dead serious about this. This one is real big for me. Who you hang out with is a huge deal. And again, these are all tried and true things, right? We've heard you're the whatever of the 5 friends you spent. Like, that's real. That one, put in the bank. Like, if you're not feeling it, you need to go to meetup.com and go to 10 meetups of people that are hungry. Like, it's unbelievable what happened to me when I got into the Silicon Valley world and started meeting like Mark Zuckerberg and like Ev Williams and Sock and like Travis. Like, it changed my life.
You have to practice who you want to be. You know, you don't wake up one morning and you're suddenly who you think you want to be. You have to put some energy into it. So if you want to be an honest person, you have to be an honest person every day, even starting at 3 and 4 and 5, right? If you're going to be a hard worker, hard work doesn't just appear. You have to practice hard work. You have to practice effort. You know, and I also encourage them and try to help them understand that good things don't come easy. You know, with that effort, you know, that's where you grow. That's where growth is. Some of the best times in my life when I've grown, it's when I've done something hard, when I've overcome a fear. You don't realize that when you're doing it, but when you come out on the other side, you realize, wow, I've really stepped up.
This is what I tell my daughters every day. Do not be afraid to fail, because that oftentimes is the thing that keeps us as women and girls back, because we think we have to be right. We think we have to be perfect. We think that we can't stumble. And the only way you succeed in life, the only way you learn is by failing. It's not the failure, it's what you do after you fail. You know, do you let it eat you up? Do you quit? Do you give up? Or do you let it bolster you? Does it serve as the challenge in your mind to do more, to take some risks?
Life's not easy. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them. Number 2, I love it. Unbelievable is the stupidest word in the dictionary. Should never come out of our mouths. Think about it. To say, oh wow, what an unbelievable play. It was an unbelievable book, an unbelievable film, an unbelievable act of courage. Really? It may be spectacular, it may be phenomenal, most excellent or outstanding, but unbelievable? Give others and yourself more credit. It just happened. You witnessed it. You just did it. Believe it. What about the other side of unbelievable? You know, that side when we humans underperform or act out of our best character. For instance, man flies a suicide jet into the World Trade Center. Millions die from diseases every day that we have cures for. Bob the Builder swears that he's going to have your house built by Thanksgiving, and you can't move in until Christmas the next year. Our best friends lie to us, and we lie to ourselves all the time. Unbelievable? I don't think so. Again, it just happens, and it happens every day. Nothing that we Homo sapien earthlings do is unbelievable. And if there's one thing you can depend on people being, it's people. So we shouldn't be surprised. We, us, are the trickiest mammals walking the planet. I'm not worried about the monkeys. I'm worried about you and me. So acknowledge the acts of greatness as real, and do not be naive about mankind's capacity for evil, nor be in denial of our own shortcomings. Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome.
Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Fail big." That's right. Fail big. Today's the beginning of the rest of your life, and it can be very frightening. It's a mean world out there, and you only live once. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. There's an old IQ test was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals.
There are winners, there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or a different strategy, a plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. See, 5 years ago when I started out in this area, I would not have been able to make the mental leap that I would be up to where I am right now. I don't want you to begin to just psych yourself out. No. I want you to be able to say something to yourself that will enable you to maintain a level of integrity with yourself. That when you say this, even when you face tremendous setbacks, it will be a benchmark to keep you in the game, to keep you moving forward and experimenting and readjusting your strategy and your plan of action, continuously looking for ways to win. So what is that something? When you got an idea you want to move on, you might not have the money, you might not have the education, you might not have the support or the resources you need. What is that something that can keep us going, that will enable us to act on our dream? What's one of those keys that will begin to help us to discover the secrets to our dream? Here's what I want you to repeat after me, please, with power and conviction. Say, it's possible. That's all I want you to do when you look at your dream. Just say to yourself every day, it's possible. Just say that every day to yourself, it's possible. Because what does that do? See, it begins to change your belief system. See, the way in which we operate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a manifestation of what we believe, what's possible for us. Whatever you've done up to this point, all that it really is a duplication, it's a reproduction of what you believe subconsciously that you deserve and what's possible for your life. Most people operate out of their personal history, out of their memory, things they've done, things they've experienced, things they've seen, things that they have observed. What I'm suggesting that you operate out of a larger vision of yourself. I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience, having what you want to have, doing what it is that gives your life some meaning and value. Operate out of your imagination, not your memory. Because whenever you look at where you want to go, I'm wanting to warn you, you will have some conversation back here after you go through the data that you've experienced in life saying you can't do it. And so what you want to begin to do is ignore that inner conversation. Well, most people, ladies and gentlemen, when something happens to them, what they do is they begin to believe that that's the way it is.
When I was poor, everywhere I went, flip the price tag. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? I was constantly negotiating the price for everything in my life. You do that when you come from a place of scarcity, of being poor.
And as Martin Luther King said, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. You've just got to believe that you can learn.
How many of us can possess the eagle attitude? What makes an eagle so magnificent? Is it the courage? Is it the demeanor? Is it the strength? Is it the willpower?
He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Successful people and wealthy people have a subtle distinction. They don't look at price, they look at worth. Is this worth it? If you're constantly looking at the price tag, you'll eventually relent. You'll eventually give in. Stop negotiating the price. It's a freeing experience to totally commit. When you totally commit to a relationship, to a business, to your fitness, to your faith, it's a freeing, powerful, it's almost like removing kryptonite from your life when you totally commit. Can you do that? The people around you always say, it's costing too much. It's costing too much. And you go, maybe it's costing too much. You gotta start going, no, it's worth it. It's not the price, it's the worth. It's a subtle distinction in your life. Are you with me on that?
So identity is the governor on our lives. It's the invisible force that no one understands. And once they do understand and get a hold of it, their life can change. So not only if you don't get a hold of this, will these outward conditions of your life keep being exactly the same, but you could behave differently. You could do all the work out. You could be thinking great thoughts, but you are going to get out of your life.
You don't have to believe that you're already capable of doing what you want. You don't have to believe that you can already build that thing that you dream. You don't have to believe that you already are extraordinary. You simply have to believe that if you take that first step, you put yourself on a journey not of execution, you put yourself on a journey of learning so that you can execute. And that, when you understand that difference, that's when you really will be on that path to greatness. And that is the thing that I want for everybody listening to this. Please understand, the only thing you need to know is that you have to take the first step. Whatever the vision is that you have for your life, you absolutely can make it come true. And the process is very simple. The process is about learning. The process is about growing and getting better. It's about recognizing what you're not good at. It's about recognizing what you have to learn. It's about taking that first step on faith.
You're going to be the most powerful force in the world, I think, is to be consistent with the concepts, ideas, and worth that you hold for yourself. You will get that out of your life, what you will tolerate. Okay, the deeper part of that is identity. And so identity is very much like a thermostat sitting on a wall, right? This is important. Once that temperature is set at a certain degree, everything in the world externally can hit it, and you will find a way to get that temperature. So even in this house, let's say it's set at 80 degrees. If we opened up all the doors and cold air, just the worst things in life, the blizzard of life came in, the thermostat will kick the heater on and it will regulate this room back to 80 degrees. The reverse is also true. It's a super hot day. Great things are happening in your life. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. If you're at 80 degrees, that internal thermostat will find a way over a window of time to cool your life right back down to 80 degrees again. So the key, the secret key, is to be able to shift that identity. 90, 100, 120. So some of the ways, strategies to do that are very simple. One is let's just say financially, you're a 200 degreer and I'm an 80 degreer. If I'm in your proximity over and over and over and over again, you will heat my identity up somewhere in between mine and yours to 150 degrees. Same in fitness, same in everything.
On faith that you can get better, not on faith that you're great. On faith that you can become the greatest of all time. And once you have that faith, once you know that simply being a human being puts you in this rare category of creature that can get better through pressure, through pain, through difficulty, through failure, those are the things that are going to be the building blocks of your success. But in order to begin on that road, in order to have your first glorious failure, you must first take that first step. So please, don't waste your time being motivated or inspired. Spend every second of your time moving forward. That's how you're going to get where you want to go.
As Daniel Pink said, people fail to achieve mastery not because they aren't talented, but because they aren't disciplined.
To be able to soar as high as we can, to be able to look down at all of the opportunities and being able to attack when they present themselves. To know that you can do the impossible, not just surviving, but living, knowing how to hunt, to be brave, You're not depending on anybody, but you're being independent, like the eagle. You got to get up. You got to fly. You got to soar. You got to be that eagle.
There are some things in life that you'll never experience, you'll never receive, that you will never obtain until you believe. Believe in you and believe in your dreams. So dream big and dream beyond your wildest imagination.
Number one, I want to make sure you catch it. Number one, you have to believe that it can be you, right? And I'm not talking to everybody in the room. Some of y'all, you got enough confidence for me and you, you're good. But somebody in the room, you don't have that type of confidence. I need to give me a quick favor. I need, for those of you who are like, E.T., tonight is my night. When I walk out of here, I'm going to be different. How many of you be honest in the room? Raise your hand. E.T., I'm going to be honest. When I hear no, sometimes it breaks my spirit. When my mom doesn't believe, when my dad doesn't believe, or my girlfriend doesn't believe, or my friends don't believe, or when they shut the door, they slam the door in my face without even giving me an opportunity. I'll be honest, E.T., sometimes when I walk away from that door, I get a little discouraged. Raise your hand for me, be honest. Raise your hand.
Just look at that eagle. It's truly magnificent. You never see an eagle complaining. You never see an eagle whining and worrying about how it's going to get its meal. I mean, let's just think about it. An eagle is flying, but an eagle must eat. It has to eat to survive or live. Well, let's think about that for a moment. Do you think what the eagle is hunting is going to just sit there and wait to be eaten? Because the thing about success, you got to work for it. It's not supposed to be given. It's not going to just sit around. The eagle knows what it must do. Question is, do you know what you got to do?
What I do is, unique in that I study people all the time because I know that I deal with salespeople or people who are in the sales industry. I'm constantly, studying that genre, if you will, regularly. I have a keen sense of awareness. And so I'm constantly asking myself questions in my mind. What would work? What would work? What's going on in the economy? What's the climate? What's going on? What are people dealing with? So just asking myself a bunch of questions. My mother is there. What are mothers going through with sales? What is a father, who's trying to put in 60 hours a week, but at the same time trying to have a healthy relationship, with his children, his family. What does he need to hear?
What you're gonna do is gonna take you to a whole level because this company has some great stuff in store for you, but you cannot get it if somebody says no and you take no the wrong way. Listen to me. Every no you get, don't shun the no. Every no, you take the no. You take the no and you recycle it.